We will now move on to the good of the cause. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of providing an opportunity to the public to express themselves on school-related matters of concern to the residents of East Brunswick. To allow for a fair and orderly public comment period in accordance with Board Policy 167, individual comments are limited to 5 minutes. Members of the public are reminded that this is a public televised meeting of the Board of Education to protect the privacy of all students and staff. Concerns regarding individual students and staff should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff by New Jersey Statute 10.4.12b. Is there anyone that would like to address the board this evening? Please come forward and just state your name and address and your comment.
Daphne Speck-Bortinsky, Parsons Road in East Brunswick. And I'm here on two matters. One is I'm hoping that the Board of Ed hasn't given up on the idea of getting solar panels on some of the buildings in the township, the school buildings. There is a goal of having 20% renewable energy standards for the state of New Jersey, and we're hoping that the Board of Ed will step up to the part of helping East Brunswick achieve 20% by the year 2020. So I know that the Memorial School in particular has the capability of, it was particularly built with the idea that there might be solar panels on it at some point. So there are 4 options for purchasing or for obtaining solar panels. And one is to outright purchase the solar panels, and that makes a lot of economic sense because you get 30% federal tax credits, you get a 20-year warranty, and you also get state tax credits. Then there are solar loans, solar leases, and power purchase agreements. And I think Susanna Chu would be able to help answer further questions on any of those issues. And the reason I chose Memorial School was it does matter how old the roof is for the different school buildings. So you would need to choose schools that had fairly new roofs. The other issue that I'm here to talk about is the Irwin School parking lot. So the replacement value of all trees in East Brunswick is valued as follows. Greater than 6 inches in diameter for a tree, up to 12 inches, the cost of replacing the tree is $250. Greater than 12 inches up to 18 inches, it's $500. Greater than 18 inches up to 24 inches, it's $750. And greater than 24 inches, it's $1,000. So the true value of trees are significantly higher. A tree valued at $1,000 should be valued a lot higher, since our township is permanently losing this valuable natural resource, in addition to the oxygen and the shade that is provided by the trees. The Board of Ed should hold themselves to a higher standard and conserve as many larger trees as possible so that the canopy coverage can be maintained in the township. They may be able to construct the parking lot around the larger trees, things like tree islands that would provide shade and that kind of thing. I also was wondering if the trees at Irwin are part of a conservation easement. Does anyone know that?
They are not.
Okay. Also, the runoff from this new parking lot will be entering into the Ireland Brook, so it is even more important that the proposed retention basin function well. School may be better off by having bioswales that would absorb the runoff, and they should ensure that litter and oil slicks from the parking lot does not wash into the Ireland Brook. So I know that we value science and math and hopefully all other types of education in this town. but these are concepts that are not too new, and it seems like we're not leading the way. And I hope that we will show our students that we do value these concepts. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to direct any answers to either of those issues?
Mr. Giuliano, would you like, because you're directly involved in the design of your own parking lot?
Sure, and I can speak a little bit to the energy efficiency issues as well. The Board of Education recently approved moving forward with an energy audit of the district. We will be, in fact, that will begin next week, examining each of our facilities to look at where opportunities exist for doing all kinds of improvements in energy efficiency, and that would include interior lighting, it could include solar panels, it could include a whole host of things. We're also involved in another initiative where we're exploring utilizing electric buses and generating solar power to reintroduce into the grid. So we've got a couple of initiatives that are in the works right now. With regard to the Irwin School parking lot, it is not a designated conservation area, and the topography of the property does not allow for creating those islands that you noted in terms of conserving the trees. There won't be an opportunity to do a one-for-one replacement. However, with regard to water runoff, the DEP is very specific in terms of how water must be contained. So there will be, the drainage will be within the property itself. It's not designed to have runoff go elsewhere. The DEP requirements are very specific in terms of retaining any water right into the property and having basins and potentially underground retention. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Good evening, my name is Donald Simons, I live on River Road in East Brunswick. First of all, I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, and Happy Hanukkah. That's the good news. Last meeting, I mentioned about Transportation Department. You got bus drivers using the school buses for their own private use. I noticed on the 16th of last month, Bus 9 was sitting over at East Brunswick Mall, closer to Ruse Lane for over an hour with no bus driver in it. Came back, well, like I said, it was over an hour. Bus 24 pulls in the parking lot. Bus driver sits there for 5 minutes, gets out, no students, walks in the mall, is in the mall 10 minutes, walks back out and leaves. There's another bus, I'm going to talk, special needs bus, was W/G80, behind ShopRite here in East Brunswick. Behind ShopRite, not in the front mall, behind it. No bus driver in it. I don't know what the buses are doing there. I've seen buses at Harbor Freight parking lot. I've seen them all over. I don't understand why these bus drivers are allowed to use the school buses for personal use. All right? Mr. Giuliani, is it Giuliani? I called your office over a month ago. They said you'd call me back. Never got a phone call from you.
You contacted my office?
I sure did. I also called my grandchildren's grandmother, my better half. She called over and asked to talk to Mr. Pachenko over at Hammershaw over a month ago. Never got a call back. And the last thing is, I got a granddaughter over there in 7th grade. She's got a boot on her left foot. According to the orthopedic surgeon and that, he says that she should have 5 minutes early to get out of class to get to her next class. There's a teacher over there that tells her she doesn't need the 5 minutes. Well, I told my granddaughter that when it's time for her to leave the class, 5 minutes still, to pack her stuff up and walk out of the class. That teacher's got a problem, the teacher can talk to me. She don't want to talk to me. Because she won't like what I have to say. Thank you.
Can I respond, Mr.
Yes,
Simon?
please.
Mr. Simon, I just wanted to clarify something about the buses. You, in fact, will see the buses throughout the township until we take full occupancy of our Edgeboro Transportation Facility. And
Why are
reason-
the bus drivers using it for personal use?
They are not using it for personal use. So let me explain. The buses are staged at Edgeboro, and then throughout the day, they make multiple runs. One of the issues that we have is we don't have access to the facility, so we have no heat in the building, and the bus drivers don't have access to an appropriate restroom during the day. So I authorized the bus drivers, and I in fact did it, I authorized the bus drivers to remain with their buses throughout the day. In between their runs, they're allowed to take the bus and stage it at the next place where it's appropriately staged to get ready for their next run. They're entitled to a 1-hour lunch break. They can take that lunch break at the East Brunswick Mall, use the restroom facilities at a restaurant if they decide to have lunch there, or wherever they decide to go. So they're not doing it on personal time.
Okay, excuse me. At 9:08 in the morning, I'm going down Ruse Lane to go to New Brunswick.
Okay?
Bus 9 was in the parking lot. I came back by there at 10:20 in the morning. That bus was still parked there. What is the reason the bus is parked in that parking lot for an hour?
But if the bus isn't en route to pick up a child, it has to remain somewhere.
You got the bus yard over there. I was at a meeting, you said all the money you're saving by having the bus yard over on Edgar's Road compared to the other place. Am I wrong?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the question.
I said, I was at a previous meeting, and you saying how much money that you're saving by transferring it from one bus yard to the bus yard over here on Acres Road. You're saving money on it. Well, why are you transferring if you don't have a place to park the school bus?
We're not, the buses aren't going back and forth, so we're not consuming fuel.
You're, on top of that, you're using full-size school buses and get maybe 7 miles to the gallon for courier service. Does that make sense?
Which that, in fact, the mileage on the full-size buses is almost as good as the smaller buses we were using for courier services.
Why are you using buses for courier service at all?
Sir, it's not a back and forth dialogue. You spoke for 5 minutes. The superintendent.
He's asking me questions, I'm answering his
I think-
questions.
I think we should just, we could do the rest of this in private. There's no
Thank you.
reason for this to continue in public. This isn't
Thank
really a
you.
public issue.
And Mr. Simons, I will contact you about the other issue with your granddaughter tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the board this evening? Seeing none, we'll close that public session.